Now, if you do this drill that we're seeing Justin Rose demonstrate here for just 2 minutes each day, it will beat thousands of hours of beating balls on that driving range. And why that is because this problem targets the biggest problem area that I see amateur golfers always struggling with. I see this on a daily basis coaching, and that is not being able to move the hips properly. And if we can't move the hips properly, we're not going to be playing good golf. So we see players, as they come back in the backswing, their hips move towards the golf ball, and then all they can do from there is the hips go towards the golf ball coming into the downswing. Early extension, hip thrust, whatever you want to call it, it is an absolute destroyer of consistency. Just makes you swing completely with the arms and completely flippy. So if we can just spend 2 minutes a day doing the drill we're going to discuss with actually 2 other variations of doing this drill as well, so stick around for that, we're going to improve hugely. We're going to have better hip motion, which is going to, one, get rid of our early extension. Again, just 2 minutes a day can do this for you, and it's going to improve your rotation going through the golf ball, which means better club face control. And lastly, what does better rotation through the golf ball, uninhibited turn, do to you? Makes you hit the ball further. So no early extension, straighter shot, longer shot. Let's get straight into it. So first and foremost, let's watch Justin Rose demonstrate exactly his mindset behind doing this. Now, Justin's actually describing it as a feel, but we're adapting it to a drill. So let's go straight to Justin.
If you're struggling with hip thrust in your transition and in your downswing, again, you're not alone. Many guys on tour too are trying to work on this exact point, but it's so important. A couple of ways to think about it. As we turn our right hip, it typically comes a little bit behind us. I often try to imagine it's now up against a wall. So then in transition, maybe keep your right hip there and feel like your left hip is then joining the wall as well. That's going to create the room that we need to continue to turn through the ball.
So, as Justin was saying, so important to move the hips properly. So, not get that hip thrust, just like we said in the intro, we want the hips to be moving back instead. We want to get that right hip moving back in that backswing, just like Justin was saying, and then that left hip moving back so we're not thrusting towards the golf ball. Like he said, so many tour players work on this movement. Tommy Fleetwood's another one who works on this a lot. So, as you can see, Justin Rose was demonstrating something with his club right there, just by the back of him. And he was just getting that sensation, like he said, staying on a wall behind him. So staying on the wall and then keeping that pelvis moving back on the wall. So Justin is feeling that as a drill, absolutely, or I feel he is feeling that. So just feeling like his hips are staying back on a wall. That alone is a really good one for anyone to take away from this video or from what Justin was saying. But how we can adapt this to our 2 minute a day drill is grab a wall. So like right here, if I go and stretch this out a little bit, my part of the netting just behind me, very windy day, so it might blow away. And all we could do, so you could do this at home just with the wall, one of the walls in your house, just have it right behind you to where you've ideally got, let's say, half a grip's distance between yourself and the wall, and then get yourself up to the top. So you could even just have a club across your shoulders, get that right hip back to where it's just about touching the wall, and then keep the right hip in contact so we're getting that good hip depth. And then push that left hip back so then you're touching the wall with the left hip. Keeps the right side at bay so we get no funny business, no potential shanking the golf ball, which can happen if you drive that pelvis towards the ball. But again, it's so important to get the right hip moving back for depth. That's the only way we can stay back in that downswing. And then keep that left hip touching that wall, going back there. So absolutely awesome. 2 minutes a day of doing that will be absolutely awesome for your golf game. So like we said, just grind away doing that, 2 minutes a day, boom, awesome. So, okay, that'll be great. Now, if we're at a driving range, of course, we could get ourselves to where we're at one of the end bays to where, of course, there's a wall behind you. And then you can go hit some shots, replicating that exact same feel, keeping those hips back. So important to getting that good rotation through the shot there. Now, like I said, there's 2 variations you can do of this drill, hitting golf balls. So actually, before we get into those 2 variations, let's just discuss a little bit deeper of why the hip staying back is the key. So that's where so many golfers are always trying to get more rotation. It's so important. We want to rotate to be able to, of course, play good golf. But of course, like myself, right-handed player, so our dominant side of our body instinctively wants to rotate first. So what does that look like for me, right-handed golfer? That means right side driving forward. That's why hip thrusting, early extension is such a common thing because we want to use our dominant side. It's natural to us. So that's where we get that hip driving forward. So that's why, just like with this drill, 2 minutes a day, like we said, it's gonna be so important because it trains us to actually keep the right side a little bit more passive, a little bit more back. Because with golf, we need to move the left side back to be able to get ourselves to rotate properly. So our non-dominant side needs to lead it, because our non-dominant side is what's facing the target. So that's what we've got to utilize a lot. One of the reasons why you see players, let's say like Jordan Spieth or Phil Mickelson, for example, who, even though, let's say like Jordan Spieth plays right-handed, he's actually left-handed. So he's playing on his non-dominant side. Makes it easier to control his, of course, target side part of the body. And Phil Mickelson is actually a right-handed person. He just plays left-handed. Again, it's easier then to control your target side if that is, of course, your dominant side. But for us, it's not. If we're playing, let's say for me, I'm right-handed, you know, I'm right-handed, I swing the golf club, right-handed too. So we need to train to get right side to stay back, but then using that left side, having it pushed back like with our wall drill, so essential. Again, that's the deeper dive into how to rotate, is using the lead side of your body, keeping the right side passive. We don't want to be driving it forward, we want it to stay back, just like with the drill, and get the left hip to be leading the way going through there. As you can see for that swing, I was so passive with that trail side, my foot actually slipped. A little bit Scottish Scheffler style. It's not actually that, it's just icy on this. Quite cold here in Scotland, but absolutely there are reasons in people's golf swings to why they'll early extend as well. Root causes. So little positions in the golf swing where you need to early extend to be able to make it work. So if doing these drills that you see from this lesson, if they're not, boom, getting you there, most likely there'll be something in your swing, and I do have a full course on this called Early Extension Masterclass. Absolutely, there'll be a link in the description to be able to watch that. All the root causes that cause early extension and exactly how to fix each one of them with a really good practice plan. Okay, the first variant of that drill. So these two are hitting golf balls. So the first one here, I can't actually demonstrate for you right here because I needed my old net. So that's where we're going to get this little video in here, because I've made a video about this before, and that is keeping the hips back onto that net, but let a ball get in the way. Just place a ball down there. So if you're, let's say, got a little foam ball, for example, at home, and you just want to kind of nudge one down there, do the same thing, get yourself to where the hips are hitting that back and they're touching that wall, keeping that right hip back, keeping left hip back, and just do a little swing through, nudge a little foam ball down there. And like you can see with, of course, that video as well, see, oh, the net is wanting to grab me here. Let me just get that way, there we go. So we can see how the club is sliding down the wall at the same time to get the club shallow. You need to shallow if you want to stay in good posture going through the golf ball as well, which is in that course, absolutely how to shallow it. So really good one to do for the first variant. It's pretty much exactly what we talked about with the club in your hand, sliding the club down the wall at the same time and just nudging a little foam ball down there. It's a great way to connect your brain into matching up with hitting something at the same time. So it's, if you view this as kind of like, let's say starting off step one could absolutely be the 2-minute drill. I'll recommend doing the next drill for longer than 2 minutes. Absolutely, that would be the next step to get yourself hitting something. But then what can you do with hitting full shots at the driving range? Let's get to variant number 2. So, okay, variant number 2. A lot of you probably expected this drill to show up in this video if we're talking about hip depth. That's the chair drill, absolutely. So I haven't talked about the drill for a good few months. I have to give it a little break every now and again, of course. But this is awesome. If we want to take something onto the driving range to get good reps in, getting the hips to stay back, this is no better drill. So what I want you to do here, grab a chair, could even be your golf bag, could even be a big box, put it behind you and have it, just like with the wall, have it half a grip's distance behind you. And then again, same thing, you can get yourself up to the top, making sure your right hip is touching that chair, and then keep the right hip in contact with the chair and get the left hip to make contact with it and just keep on pushing that left hip back. So I'd recommend people start off with, you could start off with it with a practice swing, pause at the top, get the right hip to touch, and then left hip to go back, boom, brilliant. And then bring a golf ball in the way, same thing, give it a little pause at the top. Pause drills are so good for working on isolating downswing and making sure you're again in a good top of the backswing position, because it uses the conscious brain. So again, up to the top, touch, and then through. Really, God, now space you feel going through impact there. You feel like you've got all the room in the world to be able to strike a good golf shot. Now, pause drills do have their own level of difficulty to them because you're actually physically pausing your golf swing. So don't expect to pure it immediately. It's just to give you the sensation, because that's one of the biggest things when we're starting to work on something that, again, it's quite foreign to do. You need to break it down quite slowly because your body doesn't know how to do it. So that's why you need to start off slow. Biggest mistake, which is why loads of golfers waste thousands of hours on the driving range. They're trying to do a brand new movement pattern that their body isn't used to, and they're just trying to do it via conscious thought, full speed. You know, none of that's going to work for you. That's why you need to do a drill that gives you feedback. You need to start off doing it slow and compartmentalized if you can. So dividing up the parts of the swing. So top of the backswing, right hip back, now down. There we go, absolutely awesome. So then once we get comfortable with that, again, we can just do that full speed. I'd recommend doing it a little bit slower. Let's say like a nice smooth 60%. Imagine you're swinging like Ernie Els. Nice and smooth and rhythmical. And then build the speed up and go for it from there. That would be a great way to do it. So again, these ones, again, you could do these 2 variants, 2 minutes a day. I'd recommend doing them more than that. But if, let's say, you're snowed in, again, even though I'm in Scotland, this part of Scotland doesn't necessarily snow too much, so I'm still lucky I can get out here in January and hit golf balls. But if you're not that lucky, you're snowed in, you can do this inside 2 minutes a day, and it's going to be like you've had the entire, winter time on the driving range. Absolutely awesome. But if you can get out and practice, I'd very much recommend these 2 variants. And if you're at your wit's end with early extension, there is a course down below that gives you all the info and everything you need to be able to fix it. So if you guys enjoyed this video, click that like button. If you want more golf instruction just like this, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button to be notified every time I put out a video.